What happens when a bride-to-be is judged not by her taste, but by the color of her skin? How do you handle discrimination? By walking away or by taking ownership of the very place that rejected you? When power and prejudice collide, who gets the last word? The one underestimated or the one doing the underestimating? Maya stood outside the glass doors of La Belle Bridal, one of the most exclusive wedding boutiques in Beverly Hills. The kind of place where A-list celebrities and billionaire heiresses picked out their dream gowns. Today it was her turn. She took a deep breath, smoothing down the silk blouse tucked neatly into her tailored pants. This was supposed to be one of the happiest moments of her life. Instead, an uneasy feeling gnawed at her. Beside her, Tasha, her best friend since college, nudged her playfully. "Girl, why do you look like you're about to walk into a boardroom instead of picking out your wedding dress?" Maya chuckled softly, shaking off the nerves. "Because this place is intimidating." Inside, crystal chandeliers bathed the room in a soft glow. Rows of designer gowns lined the walls like delicate works of art. Wealthy brides-to-be sipped champagne as consultants doted on them. Maya noticed the subtle shift in the air the moment she stepped inside. The glances, the polite but pointed stares. A tall woman in a sleek black dress approached them. Victoria Hastings, the famous wedding planner. Maya had spent weeks securing this appointment. Victoria's icy blue eyes scanned Maya and Tasha, her professional smile not quite reaching her eyes. "Can I help you?" she asked, tone clipped. Maya extended her hand confidently. "Yes, I'm Maya Evans. I have a consultation today." Victoria hesitated, just for a second, but Maya caught it. "Oh," Victoria said, forcing a smile. "I just assumed—" "Never mind. Let's discuss your budget first." Maya's stomach tightened. She knew exactly what Victoria had assumed, but she wouldn't let it ruin this moment. Not today. Maya sat on the plush ivory couch, hands resting on her lap, as Victoria Hastings flipped through a catalog with bored disinterest. The boutique's interior was a dream. White marble floors, walls lined with designer gowns, and soft classical music playing in the background. Yet the air felt colder than it should. Tasha leaned in and whispered, "Why do I feel like we just crashed a country club party we weren't invited to?" Maya smirked, but the truth in Tasha's words stung. Victoria finally looked up. "So, before we begin, let's talk budget." Her tone was clipped, businesslike. Maya straightened her back. "Actually, I'd love to start with my vision for the wedding." Victoria's expression barely concealed her irritation. "Of course, but it's important to be realistic." She placed extra emphasis on the word, tapping her manicured nails against the catalog. "Our premium packages start at six figures. For the more affordable options, we have—" "I'm interested in the premium options," Maya interrupted, her voice calm but firm. A flicker of surprise crossed Victoria's face before she forced another tight smile. "I see." Tasha folded her arms. "Is that a problem?" Victoria let out a small, polite laugh. "Not at all. I just like to ensure my brides don't get overwhelmed. The high-end selections can be quite extravagant." Maya's jaw tightened. There it was again, that carefully veiled assumption. "Trust me, I can handle extravagant." Victoria's gaze flickered to Maya's engagement ring, a dazzling 5-carat diamond, unmistakably expensive. Her smile faltered. Clearing her throat, she flipped the catalog to a new page. "All right then, let's move on to dresses." Maya exhaled slowly, steadying herself. She had faced worse. This wouldn't shake her, but deep down she knew. Victoria Hastings had already decided what kind of bride she thought Maya was, and it wasn't the kind who belonged here. Maya ran her fingers over the delicate lace of an exquisite Vera Wang gown, imagining how it would look as she walked down the aisle. Victoria stood beside her, arms crossed, assessing Maya with thinly veiled skepticism. "Oh, that dress?" she asked, tilting her head. "It's quite bold. Not exactly traditional." Maya arched an eyebrow. "I love it. It's elegant, timeless." Victoria forced a smile. "Of course. It's just that some brides prefer a more classic style. Something fitting." Tasha shot Maya a look. Did she just say that? Maya held her composure. "I know what I want." Victoria let out a polite, dismissive chuckle. "Well, I suppose it's your wedding." She turned the page in her catalog. "Now let's talk hair. Most brides go for a softer, more refined look. Maybe an updo, something that feels elevated." Maya's hand instinctively touched her thick, natural curls, cascading over her shoulders. "I love my hair as it is." Victoria's smile was tight. Of course. I just thought you might want to look a bit more polished. Maya's patience thinned. I look polished just fine. Victoria exhaled dramatically as if dealing with a difficult client. All right, let's move on to centerpieces. She flipped through another catalog and tapped on a floral arrangement dripping in crystals. Now this is a statement piece, but I assume you'd prefer something simpler? Maya's voice was razor sharp. I want that one. Victoria blinked. Oh, well, it's just quite extravagant. You know, for your kind of wedding. Silence. Tasha sucked in a sharp breath. Excuse me. Maya felt her pulse quicken, but she refused to let Victoria see her flinch. She squared her shoulders. Victoria, I don't think you're hearing me. I want the best. I can afford the best. So stop trying to push me into less. Victoria's smile faltered, but she recovered quickly. Of course, she said, her voice saccharine sweet. It's just that we don't want you to feel out of place. Maya locked eyes with her. Trust me, I never feel out of place. Tasha smirked. But maybe you do. Maya sat in the boutique's plush chair, reviewing final details when Victoria strolled over, a smug expression on her face. I have a bit of an issue, she said, her tone dripping with false sympathy. Your venue has been double booked. Maya's spine stiffened. What? Victoria shrugged, flipping through her planner. It happens. Scheduling conflicts. The other bride booked a more premium package, so we had to prioritize. Tasha nearly jumped out of her seat. You did what? Maya clenched her fists, keeping her voice dangerously calm. We had a signed contract. That venue was locked in. Victoria gave a tight-lipped smile. Yes, but things change. I figured you'd be more flexible, given your background. Maya felt the sting of those words like a slap. My background? She repeated slowly. Victoria waved a dismissive hand. You know, I just meant that some weddings don't require such grand venues. I've found that more intimate settings tend to be a better fit for certain. Finish that sentence, Maya challenged, her voice ice cold. Victoria hesitated, but then forced a smile. I'm just saying, maybe a smaller venue would be more suitable. Tasha yanked out her phone and hit record. Say that again for the camera. Victoria's face paled. Oh, don't be dramatic, she scoffed, shifting uncomfortably. Maya stood up, her presence commanding. You assumed I'd settle, that I wouldn't fight back. You assumed wrong, Victoria huffed. Well, you could take the smaller venue option, or I guess you'll just have to start over. Tasha shot Maya a look. Girl, we are starting over, but not how she thinks. Maya nodded, a knowing smile creeping onto her lips. Victoria had no idea. She had just made the biggest mistake of her career. Maya clenched her jaw, her frustration barely contained. She grabbed her phone and dialed her fiancé. Jonathan, we have a situation, she said, voice tight. Victoria, meanwhile, had already moved on, dismissing Maya as if she no longer existed. Her attention now fixated on a new couple that had entered. A tall blonde woman in a designer dress and a man in a tailored navy blue suit. Oh, you must be our VIP bride, Victoria gushed, rushing toward them with an eager smile. The transformation was instant. The warmth she had denied Maya was now on full display. We have so many exclusive options, just perfect for your special day, she cooed, ignoring Maya and Tasha completely. Tasha folded her arms, watching in disbelief. Oh, so now she knows how to act right. Maya didn't bother responding. She simply glanced at the door, waiting. A sleek, black luxury car pulled up outside, its tinted windows reflecting the boutique's gold-plated entrance. The driver stepped out and opened the door. Jonathan Pierce emerged, tall, effortlessly confident, and commanding instant attention. The room shifted. A hushed murmur rippled through the boutique as whispers spread. The Jonathan Pierce, billionaire real estate mogul, tech investor, one of the most powerful black businessmen in the country. Victoria was still fawning over her other bride when Jonathan strolled in, his sharp eyes scanning the boutique before landing on Maya. Hey, love, he said, pressing a soft kiss to her temple. Sorry I'm late. Maya smiled. Perfect timing. Jonathan turned his gaze to Victoria, his expression unreadable. I hope Victoria's been treating you well, he asked. Victoria stiffened. She finally looked at Maya, really looked at her, for the first time. Recognition dawned on her face, followed by panic. Tasha smirked. Oh, now she cares. The atmosphere inside the boutique shifted in an instant. Victoria's confident smirk faltered as realization set in. Her sharp blue eyes flickered between Jonathan and Maya, her posture stiffening. This wasn't just some random customer. This was Jonathan Pierce, the billionaire. The man whose name was printed on the covers of business magazines, the owner of luxury hotels, high-end properties, and major investments in the fashion industry. And Maya? She wasn't just another bride. She was his bride. Victoria's entire demeanor changed. Mr. Pierce, she gasped, rushing forward with a nervous chuckle. I didn't realize. Jonathan raised an eyebrow, unimpressed. Didn't realize what? Victoria swallowed hard. She tried to salvage the situation, forcing a bright smile. I was just ensuring Maya had the best experience. We only provide the highest level of service for our VIP clients. Tasha scoffed loudly, crossing her arms. VIP, huh? That wasn't the energy 5 minutes ago. Maya remained calm, her expression unreadable. She didn't need to say anything. Jonathan had already caught on. The boutique staff, who had been watching quietly, started whispering amongst themselves. Some of the other brides looked uncomfortable. Others were downright delighted to see Victoria squirm. Jonathan slipped his hand into Maya's, his voice cool but firm. You mean to tell me that my fiancée, the woman I'm marrying, wasn't treated like a VIP the moment she walked in? Victoria's face burned red. No, that's not what I meant. But it's exactly what you did, Jonathan cut in smoothly. The tension in the room was suffocating. Maya squeezed Jonathan's hand, then finally spoke. Now you see what I was dealing with. Jonathan exhaled, looking at Victoria with a cold, assessing gaze. I heard everything. Victoria's breath hitched. Wait, what? Tasha grinned and tapped her phone. Oh yeah, we got receipts. Maya and Jonathan exchanged a knowing glance. This wasn't over yet. The boutique was silent, all eyes on Jonathan. His expression was calm, but there was an unmistakable edge in his voice. You thought Maya wasn't good enough for your luxury services, didn't you? Victoria forced a laugh, waving a dismissive hand. Mr. Pierce, I think there's been a misunderstanding. Jonathan tilted his head. A misunderstanding? He turned to Tasha. Play it. Tasha smirked, tapping her phone screen. The boutique filled with Victoria's own words. I assumed you'd be more flexible, given your background. These centerpieces are quite extravagant for your kind of wedding. Maybe something more appropriate? The gasps from the surrounding customers were audible. The staff froze. The color drained from Victoria's face. Jonathan let the recording finish before slipping his phone back into his pocket. He wasn't angry. He was disappointed. You judged her the second she walked in. You dismissed her. You talked down to her. He took a step closer, his voice lowering. And the only reason you're panicking now is because you realized who she's marrying. Victoria opened her mouth, but no words came out. Maya finally spoke, her voice calm but firm. This is exactly why women like me don't feel welcome in places like this. She gestured around the boutique. You cater to a certain clientele, and you made it clear you didn't think I belonged. Victoria's hands trembled. I didn't mean... Jonathan raised a hand, stopping her. You had every chance to fix this before you knew my name, but you didn't. Other clients were watching closely, whispering among themselves. Some, clearly disgusted by what they had just heard, were already gathering their things to leave. Jonathan turned to Maya. Do you even want to give them your business anymore? Maya exhaled, glancing at Victoria, who was on the verge of tears. No, she said simply. I deserve better. Jonathan nodded. That's what I thought. And with that, he reached for his phone, ready to make a call that would change everything. Victoria's hands were shaking. The weight of the situation was crashing down on her. Customers were murmuring, some already gathering their belongings, disgusted by what they had just heard. The boutique, once a place of exclusivity and status, now felt suffocating. Mr. Pierce, she blurted, forcing a smile. Let's not be rash. This was just a misunderstanding. Jonathan didn't even blink. No, Victoria. A misunderstanding is forgetting someone's name. This was deliberate. Maya crossed her arms, her calm expression unwavering. You treated me like I didn't belong. You didn't listen, you dismissed me, and then you tried to push me into a second-rate venue like it was a favor. Victoria's desperate facade began to crack. Maya, please, I can make this right. I, I'll upgrade your package for free. Full VIP service. Whatever you want, it's yours. Jonathan let out a dry laugh. Now you want to give her respect? Because you're afraid? Other clients watch, some whispering in hushed tones. One woman still clutching a bridal catalog frowned. So you only care about treating people right when you realize they have money? Victoria turned red, sweat forming at her hairline. No, that's not. But the damage was done. A wealthy couple at the back stood up. We'll be taking our business elsewhere, the woman said, shooting Victoria a glare. A ripple effect started. More clients followed suit. The boutique staff exchanged nervous glances, sensing the shift in power. Victoria scrambled for words, then turned to Jonathan with a weak smile. Perhaps a private consultation. We can design something perfect for Maya, a full luxury experience. Jonathan raised an eyebrow. And that was an option before? Victoria swallowed hard. You were fine humiliating her, Jonathan continued, voice even but sharp, until you realized who she was marrying. You had every opportunity to do your job with professionalism and respect, but you chose not to. Victoria's chest rose and fell in panic. Mr. Pierce, Jonathan took out his phone. You won't be needing to call me, because I'm calling every event planner, every luxury vendor, every CEO I know, and I'll make sure none of them ever work with you again. Victoria's breath hitched. Please, no, you don't understand what this will do to my business? Jonathan stared at her. I understand exactly what it'll do. That's the point. Maya exhaled slowly, looking at Victoria with something close to pity. You could have just done the right thing. Victoria's lips trembled, but there was nothing left to say. The moment she underestimated Maya, she had already lost. The tension in the boutique was suffocating. Victoria stood frozen, her face pale as Jonathan locked eyes with her. The weight of her mistakes was sinking in, but it was far too late. Jonathan turned to Maya, his voice smooth but firm. How much is this boutique worth? The question sent a ripple of shock through the room. Tasha's jaw dropped. Even Maya's eyebrows lifted in surprise. Victoria forced a shaky laugh. Excuse me? Jonathan pulled out his phone, effortlessly scrolling through his contacts. You heard me. How much? Victoria stammered. Mr. Pierce, I do think, Jonathan's voice was steel. You clearly don't know how to run a business, let alone treat people with respect. So maybe it's time this place gets some new management. The boutique staff whispered in disbelief. Some looked hopeful. Others exchanged wide-eyed glances. I don't want to sell, Victoria said, her voice weak, her confidence cracking. Jonathan smirked. I wasn't asking. With a quick call to his financial team, Jonathan made an offer on the spot, one that Victoria couldn't afford to refuse. Her lips parted, horror dawning in her eyes. This wasn't just a scolding. This was the end. You wanted to dictate what Maya's wedding should be, Jonathan said, slipping his phone back into his pocket. Now she gets to decide who's worthy of this boutique. Maya's heart pounded. She had come here for a dress, not a business. But as she looked around, she saw the staff, the assistants Victoria had ignored, the young stylist who had winced at her remarks. She saw the hopeful look in Sarah's eyes, the junior stylist who had been the only one to treat her with kindness. Victoria's voice wavered. You can't do this. Jonathan leaned in, lowering his voice so only she could hear. I just did. Tasha let out a low whistle. Damn, that's what you call real justice. The final blow came swiftly. Jonathan handed over the boutique to Maya, effective immediately. The announcement spread like wildfire through the store. The energy shifted instantly. Employees who had been silent before now whispered in excitement. A few even smiled. Victoria, still in shock, stumbled backward. This isn't fair. Maya, calm and composed, met her eyes. Neither was the way you treated me. Security escorted Victoria out, her face burning with humiliation. The once powerful wedding planner was now nothing more than a cautionary tale. Maya turned, taking in the boutique. Her boutique. She exhaled slowly, then smiled. Tasha nudged her playfully. Not only did you get the wedding of your dreams, girl, but you just became a business owner. Maya let out a soft laugh, shaking her head in disbelief. Looks like this is my lucky day. The sun dipped low over the horizon, casting a golden glow over the breathtaking vineyard estate. Rows of white roses lined the pathway, their delicate petals fluttering in the soft breeze. The air buzzed with excitement, a mix of hushed whispers and joyful laughter as guests found their seats. Maya stood at the entrance, heart pounding. This was it, the moment she had dreamed of since she was a little girl. And despite every obstacle, every insult, and every moment of doubt, she was here. Tasha adjusted the train of her dress, grinning. You ready, Mrs. Pierce? Maya exhaled deeply, her eyes shimmering. More than ever. The music swelled, and the doors opened. Every head turned as Maya stepped forward, radiant in a custom-designed gown, one she had chosen from her own boutique. The intricate lace, the shimmering crystals, the flowing silk, it was elegance, power, and grace wrapped into one. A dress that said, "This is who I am, and I deserve to be here." Jonathan stood at the altar, his gaze locked on her. Зрение, любовь и восхищение написаны на его лице. As she walked down the aisle, her mind flickered back to the boutique, to Victoria's sneers, the dismissive glances, the assumption that she didn't belong in luxury. And now, she owned luxury. The officiant smiled warmly as Maya reached Jonathan's side. We are gathered here today to celebrate a love that defies limits, a love built on respect, strength, and unwavering devotion. Jonathan squeezed Maya's hand, his voice low and teasing. You sure you still want to marry me? I did buy you a business without asking, Maya smirked. Best wedding gift ever. Their vows were heartfelt, filled with promises of partnership and laughter. When the officiant finally said, You may now kiss the bride, Jonathan didn't hesitate. He pulled her close, pressing a kiss to her lips as the crowd erupted into cheers. As the night unfolded, guests danced under the twinkling fairy lights, champagne flowed, and love filled the air. Tasha twirled on the dance floor, throwing Maya a wink. So what's next, boss lady? Maya sipped her champagne, eyes scanning the elegant celebration she had fought for. She looked at her husband, the man who had stood by her side every step of the way. Then she smiled. Now, we celebrate, and tomorrow, we build an empire.